Mother's Day. I often find Mother's Day to be a challenging holiday. It's challenging to know how to acknowledge it in a public setting, especially. Who is a mother? Who isn't a mother? Whose mother has recently died? Who is estranged from their mother or from their children? Who would like to be a mother but who cannot for whatever reason? Who has a tenuous relationship with the concept of motherhood? Who has silently chosen not to be a mother and does not want to divulge their personal decisions in a public setting? Motherhood, it's complicated. But mother is not only a noun, it's also a verb. And mothering isn't something that only mothers do, or only women do, for that matter. Mothering is an expansive concept beyond the gender binary that we collectively use not only to acknowledge people, but also behaviors and actions. Being mothering, quote unquote, or receiving nurturing care are universal concepts often applied across the gender binary and actually to nature and Earth herself as well. In addition, every being alive has a mother. We were all created by those who came before us. Every single one of us here today was birthed by another person. We all, therefore, have mothers inside of us. We have mothers in our bones, each one. So while motherhood is complicated, incredibly so, it wouldn't be wise to universalize our myriad and diverse experiences of what motherhood has been in our lives or the lives of our beloveds here, nouns and verbs included. There's also a way that we can connect with the essence of mothering or motherhood in a simple, holy type of basic acknowledgement. I invite you to join me in gratitude, saying thank you with your spirit. Thank you, Spirit of Life. Thank you, Spirit of Life, for granting me the opportunity to be alive today, for being born. Thank you for the women and men and beings who have come before me, who have created my body and given me the opportunity to live. What an incredible privilege to have a life. Thank you, wind, earth, air, trees. Thank you, berries and bees, for sustaining me, for sustaining us. Thank you to the unbroken chain of birth givers who labored to bring me and my entire ancestral line, who labored to bring you and all of your ancestors and the people who we've yet to meet, who will never meet into this world. It's incredible to think about, actually, that there is behind each one of us an unbroken chain of people who have given birth to get us to this point in time. Life is also full of challenges. We fail one another time and again. I have failed myself in this lifetime, and yet we carry on. We are here today, this morning, this moment is another opportunity for a fresh breath. I invite you to breathe with me. With gratitude for this moment that we can all give birth into as we choose our next actions in life, for this moment and for all the ways that we have been nourished and cared for within this life to bring us to now, let us give thanks. So to bring up another issue that I have with the noun mother and the verb mother in relationship to earth is its implicit lack of reciprocity, which sometimes gets reflected onto the way that we engage with Earth, our mother. Books like Shel Silverstein's Giving Tree, that I assume others here have questioned along with me, contribute to exasperating this already out of balance perception of the earth as great giver or great mother. And if you haven't read the story, just in sum, it's about how the earth is generous and generous and generous as humans continue to take and take and take and take. But this isn't actually a balanced view of mothering or nurturing. Does mothering inherently need to be self-sacrificing? And for those who in life play the mothering, nurturing, or mentorship role, is it fair or accurate to state that we don't need mothering in our own right? I am currently mothering or parenting an 11-year-old, almost 12-year-old child, and I ask myself, what does it teach my child in a traditional mothering sense if I understand mothering to be one way and never teach them my personal boundaries or needs? How is that mothering her? Over time, I've actually learned that the lack of showing my own emotions, if I choose to diminish my own feelings, that actually can invalidate my child's emotions, not only myself. But it's actually an act of mothering in a healthy sense to be authentic myself, which in turn honors her own humanity as well as my own. Several years ago, some of you may know that I was a birth doula and a childbirth mentor. Several years ago, I worked as a childbirth mentor from the Birthing from Within philosophy. One of the things I specialized in was leading birth art process workshops. These birth art process workshops, the birth art process, uses a form of process art, which arises from art therapy, and focuses on the trance-like, dream-like state that artists enter into to reveal their deep subconscious when making art, the process rather than the product of art. And using birth art process, we explored things to prepare for birth, for motherhood, for parenthood as a rite of passage, as a deeply transformative experience that we could allow to move within us and change us. And approaching parenthood or any other life transition is a rite of passage and becomes more so whenever we turn our attention to it in a particular way. When we approach rites of passage that call us to transform our roles and take on new identities, even when those roles and identities are new to us in our own lives, they can actually carry an incredible amount of baggage from what we understand that role to signify and what we've absorbed our culture teach us about that role, whether it be a new profession or a role like mothering or parenting. Our society holds an incredible amount of messages when it comes to the word mother. The mother archetype can be seen in fairy tales, great myths, religious texts, creation stories, Disney movies, and it's perpetuated by stories and stereotypes that move in and out of all cultures. What does the larger culture that we live in, or the cultures that have influenced you in your life, say about mothers or mothering? I ask you to reflect on this now. What do your family stories hold? What should we be as mothers, and what should we not be? I see that the sanctuary computer is out, so I'm not sure if I should keep going. Can somebody give me a cue? Okay, it looks like it's back. Okay, all right. So let's take it back. What do your family stories hold about mothers? What should we be as mothers? What stories have we been told that mothers should be? What should mothers not be? And what does it mean if we are ineligible for the title of mother for whatever reason, socially? Are those folks absolved from holding the hardest parts of this archetype? Must those folks grieve for never being able to embody actions or aspects of this archetype that, in fact, are deeply meaningful to all of us as people? So, though many of you know that I'm currently separated from my longtime spouse, my partner, and current co-parent, I have something to share about the time that I've spent with him as a partner and a co-parent that I think others here may relate to. And I share this with his permission. My co-parent William has long felt a deep grief at being disconnected societally from the mother archetype. William is gender fluid, but presents as male, as a man, and was raised as a man. William spent close to a decade as a preschool teacher and years longer than that caring for children as a nanny. And if that surprises you that a man spent that much time caring for children, you're not alone. Many people are surprised by that, which should, I think, be normal, just a normal life choice of his, but it's not in our culture. And in fact, the word nanny in our culture is often not even given to men. It's often, in a joking way, changed to manny when a man embodies the role and said in jest. And why? Why is that funny? Why is it funny in our culture for men to care for children? I know that there are many nurturers here in this Zoom room and in the sanctuary today who are men, who are non-binary, who also hold the mothering role, mothering as a verb. And isn't it interesting that there is a whole different set of archetypal images and metaphors that might come to mind when we think upon the father archetype? Perhaps first and foremost, that of God, God the Father, holiest of all, as opposed to Earth the Mother. I think it's fascinating how that might be impacting us culturally. This morning, on the heels of naming a new pope, father to Catholics, this bears great weight in my mind as well. And what about our own UU history of Mother's Day and Julia Ward Howe, who initiated a Mother's Day of Peace, a beautiful holiday. And I think we should all brag about the creation of a Mother's Day of Peace, which led to Mother's Day, because our UU saints need to be lifted up. However, why was it a Mother's Day of Peace? Why? And what is the archetypal father's role in relationship to war and peace? What was the father's role in relationship to war that then the mother archetype came in to pray for peace? These roles have been given places on the gender binary, and yet, in fact, we all hold the ability of both creating war and peace metaphorically, inside or outside of us, no matter our gender. So friends, I'm going to invite you, this won't be long, but I'm going to invite you to reflect and take a moment to process. This will not be a birth art process experience, which usually takes an hour. If you want to go home and do some drawing on this archetype yourself, I invite you to do so. Just remember, don't think about what it looks like. Think about what is moving inside of you and let it flow onto the page. But if you're there in person, you have received a little note card and something to draw with, and you may want to use that, or you may want to just close your eyes and reflect. If you're at home and you have a writing utensil, you can use that, or you can just close your eyes and reflect just for a moment or two. Just let the archetypes of mother, of what mother has meant to you, of what you've been told you should be or should not be, if the role applies to you, or what you could be or not be if the label doesn't apply to you. And simply allow the images to flow over you or to draw some of those images on your card. What feeling does it conjure up? And what do you want to take away from this period of reflection on the archetype of mother today? What medicine is in your bones? What medicine is in your belly for you when you think of mothering as a verb? And how would you like to intentionally engage with this archetype in the coming days of your life? I leave with you with these things to ponder and wish us all maybe not necessarily a happy, but a blessed and sacred Mother's Day. Amen.